What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, coming to you live from the 2025 NFL Owners Meetings, flying solo for the first time in this new adventure, this Nick Belsky-less adventure. As we take off, we wish our pal, friend, former colleague the best of luck in his next endeavor. And for us, well, we dive into All Steelers Talk solo, and I'm very excited for it. I appreciate all you guys for being here and working through the kinks, because there will obviously be some, but we're going to get things rolling. And this is just the beginning, because things constantly change. And in this industry, you never know what's around the corner. And I'll tell you this, I'm always looking to do something big, and I believe something big is coming. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Download us anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, find all of my work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. I also apologize that I'm rocking through the earbuds, excuse me. Not one, but two microphones broke on this trip. So we're going to Best Buy after this to figure this thing out. But for right now, we're here. We're live. We're going to talk some Pittsburgh Steelers football. We're going to start with the biggest news of the day. And that is the signs. The signs. You know, I always go directly to Jersey Jerry of Barstool Sports and his little TikTok videos where he talks about the signs that lead to any bet that you should make. And well, I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers are following the signs. They are following the Aaron Rodgers signs. And it's telling them that, well, most likely he's coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're diving into Art Rooney, everything that he said today when he spoke to a small group of media members, myself included, and really opened up about Aaron Rodgers and his thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and the entire situation. On top of that, where the Pittsburgh Steelers stand, where all of this is currently, if the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to sign Aaron Rodgers, because obviously I'm bringing some and as much inside information as I possibly can on the situation, because, well, maybe he is, and it sure feels like he's going to. The question is when. I might have an answer to that one. The second question is, what are the signs that make Mr. Rooney feel so good about this entire situation? And then, as we do every single day, I'll answer all of your questions. So toss them in the chat. That's going to be a hiccup for us. We're going to get through that one together here. I'm going to be real honest. I'm just going to lay it all out before we really dive into things. Is the questions are going to be the toughest part, because I'm going to try to talk to you guys, monitor the questions, and then answer them at the end of the show. I'm going to get as many of them as I can. Obviously, super chatters immediately go into the stars, so that makes it easy. And our members, I'm going to make sure that I do you guys good, because I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Let's talk Art Rooney. And we're going to start with listening to his words and then reacting.
Nothing new on the Aaron Rodgers front. We'll see what happens, and hopefully we'll know something soon.
Are you content to wait?
Well, not forever, but a little while longer.
Did you envision it taking this long and playing out the way that it has?
No, didn't envision it taking this long, no.
How was the meeting? How do you characterize getting to meet him and go through that process?
It was good to meet him. Yeah, we talked about Pittsburgh and all the Pittsburgh coaches he's had over the years, and we talked about Greenfield and how much he knows about Greenfield, and so yeah, we had a good conversation.
Why does he know Greenfield? Because of McCarthy?
Yeah. McCarthy always talked about Greenfield, I guess.
There have now been some photos and videos of him throwing with DK Metcalf. Omar said yesterday if it happened, it'd be a good thing. Do you view it as a good thing? You're trying to read the tea leaves to figure out which way he's leaning, things like that?
I mean, I would say it was a good sign that he wanted to do that, and we keep hearing that he's I guess headed in our direction, and so that seems to be, all signs are positive so far.
So you have a good feeling. Two more here, guys. Oh, but you have a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, we keep getting positive sort of signals about it. So I'd say we feel pretty good about it at this point.
How about it?
I apologize about the end. I totally forgot to take that exit video out of there. I'm still looking, dude. Nick Belsky was good at his job. Okay, we're gonna get this thing rolling. Art Rooney said a lot and a little, and I kind of appreciated every single second of it because I went in there expecting him to say something. He's a very upfront guy. You know, Art Rooney's not going to hide things. He's going to make his thoughts known. He's obviously not going to say things that hinder the team or may distract his team from the ultimate goal, which is a Super Bowl. That's not what he's looking to do. That's not what he's ever been looking to do. But at the same time, he's going to make sure that his thoughts are shared in moments where he can share them, and he's going to do it deliberately so that you understand where he stands. Maybe Aaron Rodgers understands where he stands, and that the world and the fan base know where he's coming from and where his mindset is. And I think that's super important through this entire situation. I look at this one of two ways. The Steelers know Aaron Rodgers is close, or the Steelers are sending a sign to Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to dive into both. Now, the Steelers believe that Aaron Rodgers is theirs, you know, and the NFL world believes that Aaron Rodgers is the Pittsburgh Steelers because I've been down here for 3 days now. I've spoken to a number of executives and sources on both sides of the ball. And by the ball, I mean Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And everybody seems to know or believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to end up in Pittsburgh. All signs point to Aaron ending up a Steeler in 2025. Him throwing with DK Metcalf obviously made that much louder and much more aggressive, and everybody immediately starting to think, oh, there it is, definitely coming, definitely happening. I took it as that, but it doesn't mean that there's more of a sense of urgency. And I think that's important with this, is that the NFL world believes that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to sign Aaron Rodgers, but they don't know when it's going to happen. They have no idea when Aaron Rodgers is finally going to say, okay, great, I'm coming to Pittsburgh, and I'm going to be a Steeler in 2025. Let me ink that one-year deal. Let me finally end all this chaos. And I don't think the chaos has anything to do with anything else other than it's Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is looking to drag this thing out as much as possible. Aaron Rodgers goes into the darkness, is completely silent, is incognito when he shows up in Pittsburgh in a visit nobody knows about, but he brings a photographer, or DK Metcalf brings a photographer, and Aaron Rodgers allows him to do so, to capture him and DK throwing the football together. That's never happened. Aaron and DK have never publicly been out there throwing footballs together, at least not that I know of. And you got to take that as Aaron Rodgers is making it known and keeping himself in the spotlight without actually giving the Steelers an answer. It's dramatic. You know, you have to fully acknowledge how dramatic this situation is, how dramatic Aaron Rodgers' side has been throughout this all, and that the Steelers are looking at it the same way the rest of the NFL is, and just saying, look, it's Aaron Rodgers. We believe that we're going to get him. Everything is pointing to us getting Aaron Rodgers, and we just have to wait this one out. We just have to sit here and say, if we don't mess this up, which is wild to say, but it's true. If we don't mess this up, Aaron Rodgers will be ours in 2025, which is crazy that the Steelers don't have to mess up signing a guy that clearly should have already signed, that it makes no sense for him to have signed already. Now, okay, let's go to the other side of this, because the other side of this is very important. And I think this is the under the radar, not being spoken about side to this. Yesterday, Mike Tomlin laughed and said, yeah, we've spoken, when asked if Rodgers has a deadline or if he's aware of Rodgers' deadline. And he didn't say yes. He wouldn't say yes, but he very much so hinted at a yes, that he was aware of what was going on and when that was going to come. At the same time, he acknowledged the day before to me and others that you're looking at it going, as long as he shows up by training camp, things are okay. Omar yesterday says that they're being patient, they're sticking it out, and everybody is just rolling with the punches with Aaron Rodgers, and they feel confident about it, which is something that they have felt the entire time. But they aren't sitting here with a hard deadline thinking, okay, this has got to happen now. Rooney says, I'm willing to wait, but I'm not willing to wait forever. And I took that as a sign. I took that as a clear sign to Aaron Rodgers that the Pittsburgh Steelers are buying time because they need time. And at the same time, they understand that this can't go on forever. That he's doing things like throwing the football with DK Metcalf and making that very public, but he's not signing with the Steelers. That he's playing media, that he's playing attention. And that's not what the Steelers are looking for at all in a quarterback or in any position. And this is Art Rooney saying the things that Mike Tomlin and that Omar Khan can't, because Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin are trying to set the stage to make sure that Aaron Rodgers is cool and comfortable and everything's going to be okay. That things are going to be just fine between Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. They just have to wait it out because eventually he's going to sign. That's their belief. Rooney's looking at it going, yep, that's the belief. We are pretty confident that Aaron Rodgers is going to sign, but it needs to happen because it's ridiculous that it hasn't happened. And I can be totally off base here, but I really, really believe that it was a message to say, at some point, we got to move on. We believe Aaron's going to be our quarterback, but he can't push this thing out as long as he wants to push this thing out. That right now, the ball is in his court and he's waiting. And that's what Omar said, is that, like, that's what happens with free agents, is you have to sit there and you have to be on their timing. Well, most times that's true with a limit, because the Steelers won't wait around forever. And the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers are waiting around much longer than they usually would be. And it's much more public than it usually would be. And they're kind of getting tired of it. That's how I interpreted that side of things. And again, I could be wrong, but I do believe that the Steelers are confident but irritated and tired of all of this. And do I think this is going to happen? Yeah. I mean, I was told yesterday that it's a pretty strong belief that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to sign Aaron Rodgers. I was told today that there's a pretty strong belief that it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, and that there's a chance that, he's just waiting it out to actually announce it on the Pat McAfee show, big night out thing. That Pat has said, no, that's not going to happen. But we all know that there's a possibility that it does. And maybe that rumor has some actual legs underneath it and can gain some traction as we move forward. Again, anything is possible with Aaron Rodgers. That is what we've learned. And that is what this continues to be, is anything is possible with Aaron Rodgers. Everything is on the table with Aaron Rodgers, because every time I've spoken, this is a great example of this, actually, is this weekend, or this week, I guess, it's only Tuesday. You hear constantly, Aaron's going to go to Pittsburgh. Aaron's going to go to Pittsburgh. Aaron's going to go to Pittsburgh. But at every single stop, every single time you have that conversation, it comes with the disclaimer of, but maybe he doesn't, because it's Aaron Rodgers and you just never know. And again, I've gone on the whole, this is Aaron Rodgers, this is wild, this is something we never thought we'd be part of rant before. I'm not going to go on it again, but we don't know how to maneuver these things. And with the Pittsburgh Steelers, you've always believed if they got him hooked, they're going to reel him in. I don't know if that's 100% the case with Aaron Rodgers. I think that there is a point where he could get dramatic enough where he says, all right, I'm waiting this one out. And then the Vikings, who again today kept that door open and said, we aren't 100% closed on Aaron Rodgers and we never will be, which is ridiculous. You're playing games just like Aaron Rodgers is playing games with the Steelers. But maybe one day that door opens and Aaron goes there, and we would not be shocked at all. Not even a little bit. Where would they go next is Mason Rudolph, without question. I look at Mason Rudolph as a guy that they have confidence to get them to the playoffs, probably not win them a Super Bowl, to keep their hopes alive, to keep their winning ways alive. They are fully aware that their Super Bowl odds lie in Aaron Rodgers. And they don't look at Aaron Rodgers as the savior to come in here and win them a Super Bowl. They look at Aaron Rodgers as the guy that is the only option left that could get them there if they need a quarterback to get them over a hump a little bit. That the defense and Jaylen Warren and everybody else is going to win a Super Bowl for them, but Aaron Rodgers needs to be the guy that doesn't lose it. That needs to beat Patrick Mahomes in a 2-minute drive, and they don't know if Mason could do that. They're not that confident in the situation. When it comes to the NFL draft, I'm starting to get the sense that they're all out on the NFL draft and that it's next year, that they are going to go all in next year, and that for, I don't know, Arch Manning, any of the top 5 guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers would trade a bunch of picks, because Omar Khan said it yesterday, and I didn't dive into this enough, but Omar Khan said it yesterday, unwarranted, unprompted, that trading back is an option this year, which stunned me because it was the first time ever throughout this entire process that I thought maybe the Steelers could trade back. Maybe that's a real possibility for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is to move backwards instead of forwards, which I never really thought was on the table either, but I thought moving back was off the table. I think yesterday was the first time I believed it was a possibility. Yesterday was the first time that Omar Khan addressed the comp picks and how they're very confident that they're going to get at least a 3rd-round pick, but they might get 2. And maybe 2 others in the 4th or 5th or maybe 6th rounds. And they could use those to move up next year, and I think that's what their plan is. I've seen some people say the Steelers don't have a plan at quarterback. Some people say, how did they get here and how do they get out of it? It's very simple. The Steelers' mindset is very, very simple right now. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking at Aaron Rodgers as their guy this year to give them an opportunity to win a Super Bowl in 2025. And then in 2026, they go all in for their franchise quarterback, quote unquote, and see if they can land him in the higher parts of the NFL draft. That is how the Pittsburgh Steelers view this situation, and that is what the Pittsburgh Steelers have in place for a plan long term in quarterback. So when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and the situation there, we're just riding the roller coaster, and I don't know when that roller coaster is going to end. I have no idea. To be very, very honest with you, I have no clue when Aaron Rodgers is going to sign. I was told potentially on the McAfee show, but I think we're just waiting it out. And I think we're going to find out all together when he comes and when he actually gets a deal done with the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. With that said, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to go through some comments here. I'm going to fix some stuff, and then we're going to continue to answer all your questions and keep this show rolling. We'll be right back.
What's up, Steelers Nation? I'm here to tell you about our new partner, Penalty Verdict. You ever watch college or NFL games and think, that call wasn't right? Yeah, we all do. Now you can vote on it. With the Penalty Verdict app, you can vote on NFL and college football penalties in real time. Use the app to share your thoughts and engage in a community with fans who are looking for fair and accountable play. Unlock the next dimension of sports by engaging with real-time polling on referees, players, and teams. Then, view data-driven insight to have informed discussions about the game. Penalty Verdict is in the developmental phase and would love to hear feedback from you. What features do you want to see in the app next football season? Vote on NFL and college football penalty calls in real time with Penalty Verdict. Use our link.penaltyverdict.com/allsteelerstalk to get started today.
Shout out to our boys over at Penalty Verdict. All right. We're going to finish out the show the same way we do every single day. We're going to answer all of your questions, so I appreciate all of them. If you got them, toss them in the chat. I understand that this was a slower episode. I'm going to be very honest with you guys, okay, about my plans tonight and where things go from here. And while I'm kind of moving through this, making sure that everything is there without being too dramatic in the situation. I'm trying to calm down on the drama with Aaron Rodgers, because I think it's getting a little ridiculous. And I'm much like Art Rooney. I'm just sitting here going, what is happening? Why are we doing this constantly? Why are we constantly doing this? And well, it's because it's Aaron Rodgers. But at the same time, I'm going to be also very honest with you. I'm here at the owners' meetings, and tonight is the Art Rooney dinner, where a select few media members that I'm very grateful to be a part of get to go eat dinner with none other than Mr. Rooney and others, potentially Roger Goodell once in a while. And I'm not going to act like it's not the fanciest dinner in the entire world. Like, I'm talking put the napkin on your lap for you dinner. And that is, I mean, does it get much better than that? Does it get any better than that? All right. With that said, I'm going to dive into all of your questions. Toss them in the chat if you got them. I'll get to as many of them as I possibly can. Appreciate all of our members. I appreciate all of our super chatters. I hope that my camera starts catching up so that we're good here. We'll get through them. That said, let's dive into them. Noah, what do we got? Man, I miss Nick. Hope he's doing well. Shout out to Madeline. When, at this point, Rodgers does sign, do you think that they should still draft a quarterback in this draft, regardless of where? Also, who would you pick, Dart or Milroe, if you had a say? I do think that you draft a quarterback. I don't think that changes. I don't think it's a first-round guy. I'm very against a first-round quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just don't. I don't know. I don't see the point of it. Like, if you're going to draft a quarterback next year, and the Pittsburgh Steelers believe they're going to draft a quarterback next year, then why would you go after a first-round guy this year? I think a third, maybe a second-round guy is where they're at. Jalen Milroe is my pick, but only at 83, not anything before 83. I think it's wild to make a move that is just out of the ballpark of what you need right now at quarterback. I'm super out on Jackson Dart. Okay, I'm super out on Jackson Dart. You're not going to hear me say Jackson Dart is the guy for the Steelers once throughout the rest of this draft process. I just don't think he makes any sense for Pittsburgh. I think he has a lot of Kenny Pickett in him. His ceiling is okay. His floor is okay. Nothing's great. Go all in next year. Let the Giants or the Saints or anybody else draft Jackson Dart. Move on from the dream. I'm going Jalen Milroe in a realistic pick, which is like 83. I saw they want to bring in a lot of running backs for a visit. Who would you like the most? Tutton, Gordon, Sampson, Giddens, assuming we pick later. What are your thoughts on even Devin Neal or Marcus Yarns? I like Devin Neal over Marcus Yarns. I'm a big Devin Neal guy. Giddens would be my pick here of all of these guys. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers like Giddens and his explosiveness. I agree with it. I think that's the move for them at this point is go get another explosive guy. Go get as many explosive options as you possibly can at running back, stack them up, see who works, see who doesn't, and go from there. I'm going Giddens out of this group. To be honest, I think the Steelers draft a running back earlier. I do. I think a Trey Henderson, a Caleb Johnson, that's where I see them potentially trading back, is if the Pittsburgh Steelers move backwards, get a second-round pick again, and from there, they go wherever they need to go in the first round. They probably draft a running back in the second round, and then they go hopefully quarterback in the third, maybe wide receiver, who knows. Out of this group, I would go Giddens. Out of any of them, I'd go Quinshon Judkins or Trey Henderson. Perfect draft, Noah. Ibuka, trade up for Jalen Milroe, then Judkins, Darius Alexander, Kobe Bryant, Logan Brown, Jaden Blue, then Desmond Watson, and miss Nick Belsky. We all miss Nick Belsky. It's going to be a tough couple of days. I hope you guys could push it through with me. I really hope that you guys can push it through with me, and then we will get things rolling smooth. I promise things will be rolling smooth once again. Not like this Wi-Fi at the La Quinta, but you know what I mean? You can't stay at the Breakers. You can't stay at the Breakers like everybody else, so you're chilling here. And by everybody else, I mean all the billionaires. I don't think there are any actual journalists staying at the Breakers in Palm Beach. That thing looks like it was built in Rome and flown here just for the NFL owners meetings. I love the Ibuka pick. I think the Steelers are very interested in Emeka Ibuka. Jalen Milroe in the second round would be great. I think in the third round would be better. I would honestly switch him for Junkins. I think that's great. I don't think Darius Alexander makes it to this late. I think he's a second round pick max or worst case scenario in the NFL draft. So I just don't think that that's on the table for the Steelers. Kobe Bryant would be awesome. I think that dude is super underrated. He's skinny, which makes me nervous, but I do think he's worth a shot. Jaden Blue is fantastic. Desmond Watson, if you could get him as like a super exciting 7th round pick, hell yeah. I mean, who doesn't want a 400-pound defensive lineman to just see if it works? If it doesn't work, you tried. But if it does work, I'm all about it. And I'll follow it up with this one. Should the Steelers move back in the draft? I think it's a possibility. I think it makes sense depending on who's there. If Kenneth Grant's there and he's not going to make it another 5 picks, I don't know if it's worth it. If you can move back to 26 and feel pretty good about who's on the board and get a second round pick in the process, okay, conversation to be had. For sure, conversation to be had. But if that's not the case, then I'm not moving back if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers for nothing. I would have to have something. And I think that Kenneth Grant, Darius Alexander, maybe a running back, maybe Emeka Ibuka, all kind of makes sense there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What are your thoughts on draft rankings? Do you believe some who go in the later rounds are first-round talents or vice versa, college and NFL are two different playing fields? Thoughts? My thoughts are very simple on this, and that is that it is hilarious when not hilarious, it's a bad word, but I'm not a go-watch tape guy. I'm not a go-watch tape guy. I don't like people who say, go watch the tape, he sucked in college. Okay, a lot of great NFL players sucked in college. It's two totally different games. The NFL draft is about finding guys who have the most potential, who have the groundwork there. It doesn't matter what they did in college. As long as they have the groundwork, the NFL is going to build them into what they can build them into. That's what it goes. That's why Josh Allen played at Wyoming and was average. That's why Patrick Mahomes was an average quarterback. That's why Mitch Trubisky was awesome and then sucked in the NFL, because that's what happens. You have to have the groundwork to be able to build it in the NFL with better coaches and scouts. And that is the reason that the Pittsburgh Steelers and every other team don't go and watch tape and say, oh, this guy looked phenomenal on the field, we're not going to care about anything else. I just don't think. And it's the same. Garrett Newsom next year at LSU looks terrible on the field, but I've been told that his NFL talent is through the roof as long as he can do it, and he does at LSU to develop him. Our favorite UPS driver, Stephen Cornfield. We appreciate you, brother. Thanks for all the work. Thank you guys so much. Again, dude, we're gonna tough it out for a couple of days. We're gonna be fine. The comment section is gonna be the big one. And then we're rolling. I'm working on big things. Nick wasn't, we'll address this one in the meantime here. No, Nick, if you guys missed the end of yesterday's show, Nick has accepted another opportunity that we are super proud and excited for him to have accepted. If you follow him on social media, it will be announced sometime soon. But for right now, we're going. But it was not a spur of the moment. Oh, this is awful. We were planning. We were prepared for it. It happened to, be at the owners' meetings, and you got to deal with the struggle of that. But we're working on some things, and I'm excited to continue to work on some things and to bring you guys those things that I'm working on. Unlimited moonballs. I wish I think he did get one last one. I hope he did. If not, he's saying it somewhere. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign, it's a huge slap in the face. It is. But would it surprise anybody? Would it surprise anybody at all if Aaron Rodgers didn't sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers? If they were just like, you know what? one day he just woke up and said, I'm retiring, I think I'm good here. Or if one day he woke up and said, the Minnesota Vikings seem like the place I'm going to wait for, it would not surprise anybody. It wouldn't. That's who Aaron Rodgers is. I think that's where we're at in this whole process. Is it's just gotten so dramatic that you can't anticipate anything. You can't rule anything out. Every time I talk to anybody who talks about Aaron Rodgers and him signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it ends with, but you never know, it's Aaron. And at first I didn't believe that. Like, I looked at it and said, dude, we're being too mean, too harsh about Aaron Rodgers. We are not. Nobody is. It is all realistic. And it's kind of crazy, to be honest. It's kind of crazy. Apparently I know, we're good. We're good. All right, we're going to keep going here. What characterizes Jackson Dart to not be a first-round talent? Also, he doesn't look like he would be a Pittsburgh Steeler, or is it just me? He's got too much clout to be a Pittsburgh Steeler in my head. I don't think that he's not a first-round pick. I just don't think he's a first-round pick next year. I just don't think his upside, his fundamentals, I don't think his footwork's there. I don't think his ability to read the field is there. I mean, he comes from a very easy offense. Look at it. Jackson Dart did nothing to say you're super impressive, and his fundamentals, like, he's got all the talent, but if your baseline is not great, and NFL scouts can see that, which they have seen that, they're going to question it. So Jackson Dart's good. He's going to get some hype. I think he's going to go in the first round. Steelers should not be, just plain and simple, should not be looking at first-round quarterbacks in this year's draft. When does Aaron Rodgers join Pat McAfee again on his show? Also, I hope we get 0 QBs in the draft this year and only bolster other positions while getting our quarterback next year. I think the Steelers should get a quarterback in the middle of the draft this year. I think that's important to have competition and have a backup plan. And I think that's what this draft is for, is to go get a Quinn Ewers, go get a Will Howard, go get a Jalen Milroe, and go from there. I think that is what you're looking for, a guy that could come in here and say, okay, we're good. We're good with a backup plan. Mason Rudolph doesn't have to be plan B if our starter next year doesn't work out. And we have 2 people, and maybe use one as trade bait eventually. But I think that's important for the Steelers. When it comes to the Pat McAfee show, he doesn't go on until the season. He's only a season guy. But again, rumor has it there's potentially shows up at the big night out and makes his announcement there. Sticking with Steven here. Thoughts on trading our first round this year for a second this year and a second next year, bolstering this draft and massive draft cap next year? It depends. It all depends. I'm not making any trades until the Steelers are on the clock. I think it's pointless to do that because you just never know who's going to be there. And I get it that they're fighting for next year, but they have enough picks to go up. Okay, look at history. The Kansas City Chiefs moved 17 spots to go get Patrick Mahomes. They gave up 2 first-round picks. And the Steelers would be very comfortable with 2 first-round picks to go up 17 spots and get to pick 8, pick 10, pick something like that and be fine. They have a bunch of third-round picks they could sweeten the pot with. If you're giving up 2 first-round picks for your franchise quarterback, you're okay with that situation. You really are. You wish it was 1. But if you're a good enough team, you're putting them in a good spot and you don't have to worry about that. I think that's very important. So if they're on the clock and nobody's there, yeah, that's okay. They can do that. And I think there's an argument to be made that it was the right choice. If they do it early and 21 rolls around and Emeka Buka, Kenneth Grant, all these guys are still there and you're going, damn it, Steelers missed out, then you look like fools, and I don't think they want him to. I don't think it's the right move to do it early and take that risk. Also, hire Nick Belsky, only one who could do it. Oh man, dude, Nick was here. Nick was a full-time employee, my friend. He was doing his thing. It's sad to make him leave. It's not like he left for. I can tell you this: he didn't leave for a diagonal position. It is. We set the groundwork for him to go do big giant things, and again, we'll find out what that is. But it's impressive. We're super pumped for him. us. I say us as me, all you guys, and obviously everybody who works behind the scenes at SI and the whole, AST family that we have going on. Who more people than I think anybody has any idea of. So shout out to them. All right, let's keep it trucking here. I got no matter who we bring in, the Steelers are limited by Tomlin's philosophy and the way he coaches. Way too passive. Okay. Look it. Okay. When it comes to Mike Tomlin, I have full confidence in Arthur Smith. I know people don't. I was having a conversation with people yesterday talking about, Arthur Smith might not be that guy. Is it the Steelers? What's going on there? And I just try to warn everybody constantly. Like, I don't think it's Arthur Smith. I don't think it's Mike Tomlin. I think it's a mixture of both. I don't think Mike Tomlin trusted Justin Fields. And because of that, Arthur Smith very much so limited his offense. I think when Russ got in there, Russ is very limited and it limited the offense. So you get Aaron Rodgers who could do it all. You're just going to let him rock. And I think that's important here. And I think that's where the future of the Steelers is headed. I'm not totally sold that Aaron Rodgers is going to fix everything, but I do think he sets them up to allow the Steelers to have a better offense under Arthur Smith, not Mike Tomlin. And I think there's a chance that it works out. All right, I'm scrolling through. Is it fair to say the Steelers are going defense in the first round? It's not. It's a guess. It's a total guess. But I look at it and say my best bet. If you ask me today who the Steelers' first round draft pick is going to be, I'm going to tell you it's Kenneth Grant, and that's my best guess. If he's there, things got to work out for the Steelers. But if he's sitting there at 21, he would be my pick, and I'd imagine he'd be the Steelers. Please get a new travel mic, Nick. I'm Noah. Shout out. and not one, but two mics broke on this trip. So we're working through it. We'll have a new one tomorrow. Don't you worry. Where do I send my resume to take producer Nick Belsky's spot? Thanks, future coworker. Anybody looking for a gig could always hit up noahstrackbine@gmail.com for sure. Again, I got big things coming. So anybody wants to be a part of it, you let me know. All right, let's keep it going here. Wow, Nick Belsky joke went. Oh man, I missed it, dude. Someone's got to explain this. Unlimited Moonballs explained this one to me. I apologize. Hey, no, with the rapid change for you, how are you doing / holding up, dude? I honestly I'm doing good, and I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Again, I'm gonna be real with everybody that this was very planned, and we were in the we're hanging in there pretty well. We had plans for it. It's just about you gotta finish one to start another. You gotta learn where you could do better, and then you gotta make those adjustments. And that's where we are. We're at the position. We're at the place right now where things are coming together. And I'm pretty pumped for what is coming. Now, I wish the La Quinta internet was better. That would be awesome. And I wish my travel mics didn't work or worked, but we'll figure those things out. I'm a positive guy. We're gonna do it all. Coming in late, do you see the Steelers making any more moves in free agency? Also, Carl Spackler, appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you. Yes to Aaron Rodgers, if that counts. I see them adding depth guys. I could see them going out and getting a swing tackle, going out and getting maybe a fullback to compete for a job. I can see them going out and getting, I don't know, I'm running out of positions here, but maybe another safety to compete with Juan Horn or Thornhill, excuse me, something there. But I don't think it's going to be anything big. And I think outside of Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be pretty limited to what they're doing. Maybe a swing tackle would be big if you're into offensive linemen. Did I see Pony's mock draft? I did not. I don't know who he put first. I'm gonna guess it's Wild. Shout out Pony, dude. He's a good guy, but he definitely knows how to work the system. Definitely knows how to work the system. Which ex-Steeler has the best show that you watch? I mean, I'm a big fan of Max Starks and everything he does. He's a great dude, and I mean, I enjoy him a ton. Ramon Foster is good, even with the Tennessee stuff. I watch his Tennessee stuff, and it's a blast to watch that as well. I would go Ramon as well. I love Ben's podcast. Obviously, you know, everybody watches Ben. I think that's the easy answer. But I am a big Ben's podcast guy. I just think sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm not super into it, but I think for the most part he does a good job, and him and Spence do well together. I think those are the three. Max Starks is good dude, and I very much so appreciate and enjoy supporting him for sure. Since Nick remotes in, did he table flip at his own house on the last day? Oh, that would be so awesome. I wish we did that. We should have did something cool. You know what I mean? Like if I was here, and I think we were so focused on making sure that we were good and everything was settled before he was done, that we like missed out on the cool stuff that we should have did on the last episode because of the timing of it. So it's a great question, and I'm so bummed. So bummed. I'm late. What's going on with Nick? Again, I think this will be the last time I address this one. Nick if you missed yesterday's show, Nick got another opportunity, a really good opportunity. One, again, not a diagonal, super big up. And we're very excited for him. That news will come out shortly. When he shares it, I'll share it with you guys. But follow him on Twitter or wherever, you'll get that news. Hey, Noah, other than Arch, who's your favorite quarterback for the Steelers in next year's draft? Garrett Newsomer is my favorite quarterback for the Steelers next year outside Arch Manning. I think that dude's a stud, and he doesn't put it into production right now. It's not like he's a great on-field quarterback, but he's got so much talent. And I have spoken to scouts who love that guy, love him. And I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. Like, I think he's got so much upside. Could be mobile, is able to avoid hits in the pocket. Great eye for. I think he's got everything you need in a quarterback. I'm a big Garrett Newsomer guy. Arch Manning's obviously my favorite if he's there. Didn't Art say Steelers would sign Justin Fields or Russell Wilson? Why should we buy into his comments again? I don't think that he said the same thing this time that he did during Justin and the Russ situation. I truly don't. He was very upfront that the Steelers want to sign Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Nobody at any point said that was a definite. They just wanted to. They did negotiate. Russ was never part of the plan. Justin left because he wasn't super thrilled that the Steelers benched him midway through the year, and he didn't really trust that they weren't going to do that again. Totally understandable. It just came down to didn't work out. Negotiations, all that stuff didn't work out. So I look at it and say this is different. He also didn't say that they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers. He just said that Aaron Rodgers is showing signs that they're going to sign him. So this is more Aaron than Art. I'm not reading into anything, you know, and I think you're very spot on to take everything with some uncertainty and some skepticism. I would look at it and say the Steelers are confident, but they are very aware that this is a rocky ride that they are on. Do you think the Steelers will draft Ryan Clark's son at safety? He's a later round, like day 3. Yeah, I think he's like a 6th, 7th round pick. I do think he can be an option for the Steelers. They obviously love the family thing. I think that plays into stuff. You know, he's older. He's been in the NCAA for like 6 years, but he's good. You know, he's developed nicely over the years, and I think that's super important. I could see it as a late day 3 pick. They have shown interest in safety. We'll see. We'll see. Well, I would put it on the table for sure. I think it's an option for them. they could go safety earlier. If they don't, he's a name to watch. Hey, Noah, do you think the Steelers will pay to improve any of the team facilities to help improve morale? I'm pretty sure the Steelers had a poor report card in those areas. Yeah, they did have a terrible report card. They almost always have a terrible report card. They won't change any of the – I mean, they make updates to the facilities. That's constantly ongoing, but they won't make anything drastic. Like, they're not going to change the locker room or anything like that. Their lease is up in 5 years, 2029, I believe. And at that point, I have a hard time believing that they're going to stay in the South Side. I would guess that they move on from Pitt and they go get their own place, which that's the biggest thing is Pitt is holding them back from making massive changes. They just don't have the space because of Pitt. So I look at it and say in 2029, expect a move for the Steelers when it comes to their practice facilities. And it's going to be way better at the new place. I hope. At this point, anyone that believes anything coming out of Tomlin, Connor, Rooney's is a soccer. I don't think I agree with that. I also think that all of them have been very straightforward, that they don't really know how this is going to end. And that's important to say. Like, nobody's sitting around at any point saying, we've got them locked in, this is going to happen. And you can't look past that. You really can't. So I think that you got to take them for what it's worth and say, okay, it's not ideal. It stinks that it's dragging out this long, but at the same time, even they are aware that anything could go down. Who's your sleeper pick for the draft? Much love. I appreciate you. My sleeper pick for the draft. This is a good one. Trey Henderson, I don't think it's getting enough love. I think Dylan Sampson's also going to turn out to be really, really good. Gray Zabel. Gray Zabel's the easy answer. And Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State or something like that. Gray Zabel's out of North Dakota State. Both of them absolute studs. Offensive linemen, can play tackle and guard. They are monsters. Monsters. I know that I just went on a don't watch the tape thing. Look, you want to go see phenomenal in-game play, Jackson Slater is a freak. And he put it on the field every single play. Gray Zabel's a guy that teams are falling in love with. The Steelers love that guy. I think both of them are names to watch for sure for the Steelers. But I think both of them are going to be absolute animals in the NFL. Like, I got such a hard time thinking they aren't animals in the NFL. So I would look at those two for sure. All right, just making sure. Am I the only one who saw Rodgers play last year? Why would anyone say this is good news? Look, I'm not an anti-Rodgers guy. I also think that Aaron Rodgers at the end of last season looked really good. Like, I thought he was fine. And I don't think he's the best quarterback in the NFL, but I also think he's maybe the greatest passing quarterback of all time, certainly during his generation. And I mean, he's got to have enough juice in the tank that he's not coming into Pittsburgh to be a savior. He's coming into Pittsburgh to be a quarterback in a team that doesn't need anything but just a quarterback. They needed Russell Wilson to play better last year, but they didn't need Tom Brady. They just needed Russell Wilson. Like, that's all they were looking for. This year, they don't need Hall of Fame 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. They just need a good quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers could be a good quarterback. I truly believe it. Look on the bright side, how will Rodgers' quick release time help the O-line develop this year? I honestly think it's massive. Like, I think Rodgers being able to utilize the middle of the field, being able to utilize quick routes, to read routes and a defense effectively is going to help everything. This offensive line has not had a short game ever. I mean, ever. You looked at even Broderick Jones, Isaac Seumalo, like they never got it with Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph or any of that. I think Aaron Rodgers brings a full offense through the passing game. And again, it doesn't have to be like Hall of Fame level, but it's there, it's complete. and that's going to help everybody. It is. It was very soothing to hear the birds chirping when you were outside. Do you plan on having something similar when you return to Pittsburgh? That would be awesome. I should have stayed there today. I won't lie to you guys. I had to get back here. I was done with Rooney at like noon, and it was me and Chris Halleck from DK Pittsburgh Sports. We're both staying here, and we were sitting there. It was like 1:30, 2 o'clock. We're like, dude, I got to go get a nap. And it was awful, dying. Didn't get that nap, locked myself out of the hotel room, so didn't get the nap, but had to get back. I appreciate that. I try to do outside podcasts as much as possible. I'll say this, during training camp, I will try to be outside as much as I possibly can. And maybe we could set something up, to do some outside podcasts. I agree with that. I think that would be super cool. So thank you. Thank you for sure. Do you see the new quarterback of the future using VR more often, or to improve, like Jaden Daniels? Yes, definitely. I look at it and say it's the future. Everybody sees it. Jaden Daniels had a very successful year. The Steelers used a little bit of it, but not a ton. I think that's going to develop. They brought in new staff, all that stuff, younger guys, and I think it's all coming. It's just a matter of time. Just making sure I'm not missing anything here. All right, let's finish it off with this bad boy from Grayson the Ginger. I got one more for you, Noah. How well do you think Aaron Rodgers will gel with Arthur Smith? I think they'll be fine, dude. Okay, Arthur Smith is a bro. He's a dude. He is a dude's dude. He's a good guy. He's super easy to get along with. Everybody in the locker room loves him. Russ just wanted to do his thing, man. Russ is Russ. And I think Russ is a good dude, but I'm not totally sold that locker room loved him as much as he made it seem. I'm just not. So I don't think that it's going to be an issue. Again, Aaron Rodgers could be super dramatic. He is dragging this thing out. He is making all of our lives very, very complicated. But you speak to players, you speak to former coaches, you speak to all those guys, and nobody's got bad things to say about Aaron Rodgers. They, outside of Mike Williams, and that might be it. He has almost never had a player or a coach that hated him. I mean, don't get me wrong, got McCarthy fired, and that was crazy, but they had a great relationship before then, and I think they have one now. So everybody that I talk to who's spent time with Aaron Rodgers, and I've tried to talk to as many as I can, love that guy. And I think that's important to pick up on. If we sign Rodgers, who's taking ayahuasca at Latrobe? Aaron Rodgers, most likely. What do you think about a members AST fantasy football thing? That would be awesome. I'm super into fantasy football. I'll tell you this, I'm the worst fantasy football player ever. So I think it's because I'm just so dialed in with everything that as it happens, I'm so focused on news and presenting it to you guys that you guys are so focused on picking up the player. And I'm like, damn it, I missed every time I missed. So that would be awesome. I would definitely be about it. Let's say we'll talk. We'll definitely talk. That's a good one. Hopefully Nick's move doesn't get in the way of any future tee times for you two. No chance. We've already been talking about when he gets up. Next time he gets up, Nick's from just outside of Pittsburgh, so I said next time he gets up here, we're having some celebratory beers, the whole nine. Me and Nick are still good, man. We'll never not be good. We're very grateful for each other for sure. It's just, I love to say I got a coaching tree, man, and Nick is now a part of it. Do you know if there was any talk about using sensors in footballs for ball placement? They are starting to use that technology, not in the footballs, I believe. They voted on it today for the first downs. I'll dive into it a little bit more tonight, and I will get you a better answer. But yes, I believe it was approved, and I believe it's going to start being used for first downs and that kind of stuff, which is huge, huge for the NFL and something they should have been doing a long, long time ago. I appreciate all you guys jumping in on this. Are you still calling? People would love to chat. Yep, still working through it. We get a bunch of them, so I appreciate you guys. And yeah, still making calls. I won't lie to you, I haven't made them since I've been out here. Been very busy, but I'll jump on that train today. Somebody could expect a call this afternoon. Why no notifications for the live? No, I missed the show. I apologize. To be honest, if you're subscribed, you should get a notification. I might have to check that out. I will, but I believe that you're good. Can you bring back Stephen Thompson? Shout out Stephen Thompson. Stephen's doing awesome. I run into him every once in a while. He's my dude still. He's kicking butt, man. I don't think he wants to. He's enjoying the pit life for sure. All right. Let's finish it off with a good one here. If Shedeur, Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, Ashton Genty are all hypothetically there at 21, what is the order of them? I love this. Okay. I'm going Ashton Genty, number 1. This is for the Steelers. This is what the Steelers need. Okay. And also my belief of what the Steelers would actually do. Ashton Genty, there's a significant gap between Ashton Genty and number 2. Number 2 in my eyes is Will Johnson. I think they love Will Johnson. I don't think they'd pass on Will Johnson. Shedeur Sanders would be next. It'd be hard to pass on him if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then it'd be Walter Nolan. I think Walter Nolan's better. I think the fact that Walter Nolan didn't do anything this combine season or this pro day season has hurt his chances significantly and has hurt his view in a number of teams. That's just what I'm hearing. Like, I don't make the calls, but I have heard that Walter Nolan not doing anything is leaving a bad taste in a lot of teams' mouth. And I think that's important to acknowledge. So I would go Ashton Genty. I'd run 3 miles. Then the next on the list would be Will Johnson. Then it would be Shedeur Sanders and Walter Nolan in that order. All right. With that said, guys, I think we've answered them all. I think we've gone through them all. I appreciate all you guys. We're heading out of here. I'm heading out of here. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk live from the La Quinta at the 2025 NFL League meetings. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Download us anywhere you get your audio podcasts. Go hit us with that 5-star review. Got to get that 4.3 up. I appreciate you guys for all of that. Find all of my work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. And with that said, we will be back tomorrow. Do not forget the call-in show. If you guys leave your things, I will have that rocking at noon tomorrow. Enjoy a beautiful day in the Berg.